Congress is back in session, and so is talk of impeachment. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler released a resolution to set some rules for its impeachment investigation into the president. A vote on the resolution is set for Thursday. CBS News Chief Congressional Correspondent Nancy Cordes joins me now. Hi, Nancy. So what exactly would this resolution accomplish?
Well, Tanya, here's the resolution. It's 5 pages long. They're going to be voting on it in the House Judiciary Committee on Thursday. And essentially what it does is formalize this House process for determining whether to proceed with an impeachment inquiry against the president. It's something that's been building for quite some time, and now Democrats say they are going to actually formalize this process. And so what this resolution would do is set out some rules for future hearings of the Judiciary Committee when it comes to looking into the president's behavior, his actions. It would, for instance, allow staff lawyers on the Judiciary Committee to grill anyone who goes before the committee, any witness, for an hour after the lawmakers have had their chance to do their questioning. It would also enable the White House to have a formal procedure for responding to any witnesses who testify or any information that is gathered by the committee. So this is Democratic leaders as they return to Washington after a 6-week break saying, look, this is the direction that we are heading in, so we are going to formalize this process, a process that Democrats think will enable them to gather more information as they try to decide in the end whether to pursue impeachment or not.
Right, and so just to be clear, this is sort of an inquiry into whether they should have an inquiry, right? Sort of, it's 2 steps behind.
Correct. What this actually enables Democrats to do is to show their supporters, many of whom support impeachment, that they're doing something, that they are heading in that direction, while recognizing that this is still something that isn't terribly popular in the country as a whole, and it's something that would be difficult for some of their new members, their moderate members from swing districts, to explain to some of their constituents. So it kind of enables them to show that they're heading in that direction without forcing some of their newer members to take a difficult vote on the House floor.
Right.
It's sort of splitting the difference, if you will.
Absolutely. All right. So Nancy, beyond impeachment, we know Congress has faced pressure to act on gun control legislation. But according to a new poll, 68% of Americans don't expect anything significant to get passed. So realistically, what kind of debate should we expect to see in Congress?
Well, those Americans must have been watching Congress for the past few years and noticing that Congress has not been able to accomplish anything on this issue and so many others. And so they are probably right to be skeptical. Democrats are coming back to Congress with a full head of steam, though, trying to keep the pressure both on the president and on Republican lawmakers to get something done. So the Speaker of the House and the leader of Senate Democrats sent a letter to the president this morning telling him that he has the chance to do something historic here, but that he needs to put pressure on House Republicans because only he can counteract the pressure that those Republicans are getting from the National Rifle Association and other gun advocacy groups. So they say, Mr. President, you have said you want to do something. If you are serious, we are going to need you to step up and lead your party. That's the only way that something is going to get done. Beyond that, they're holding press conferences, they're holding hearings to try to force Senate Republicans to hold a vote on a bill that has already passed the House that would expand background checks and make them universal. Democrats believe this is the way to go. A lot of Republicans in the Senate are still skeptical. They believe that the bill goes too far. If they think that goes too far, wait until they get a look at some of the other legislation that House Democrats are working on that would dramatically eliminate magazine sales, for example, high-capacity magazines and the like. And you now have some conservatives, Tanya, saying, look, we really need to give some of this legislation a tough look or come up with our own. Otherwise, this issue is just going to get too far ahead of us, and we might be facing legislation that we really don't like. So, it is an interesting situation where you do have some Republicans saying for the first time, perhaps we ought to do something, because if we don't, and things to continue to spiral out of control when it comes to gun violence, that they might be forced to do things down the line that they don't want to do and they feel would do too much to curtail the ability of Americans to acquire a gun.
So, Nancy, how much influence then does the president really have over Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Senate Republicans in terms of bringing gun control measures to a vote? I mean, who are Senate Republicans more afraid of, the president or the NRA?
Well, McConnell has made it pretty clear repeatedly now that Senate Republicans are not going to do anything. They are not going to bring any bill to the Senate floor unless they have buy-in from the President of the United States, because they know that this is a difficult vote for many of their senators who come from red states, and they're not going to be willing to go out on a line and really break with party orthodoxy, upset a lot of their own voters, unless the president, who's quite popular with those voters, is going to give them political cover. And what they've seen the president do time and time again, not just on this issue but on others, is to say he's behind something, but then when the heat ratchets up, either from conservative media or from advisors within his own administration, he backs off. And so what McConnell is saying is, this time around, Mr. President, we are not voting at all on any measure unless we know that it can be signed by you. So that really puts the onus on the president to, to state what he's for and to stick with it. But it also opens the door for Democrats to say, wait a minute, I thought we were co-equal branches of government here. Why is it that Republicans can't take moves on their own that they believe are right without knowing ahead of time that they have presidential buy-in?
Right.
So that's sort of those are the parameters of the debate that you're going to be hearing in the weeks to come now that Congress is finally back in Washington.
So Republicans are waiting for a clear message from the White House, and so far those smoke signals have been a little vague for their taste. All right, Nancy Cortez on Capitol Hill, thank you so much.
You're welcome.